Meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Holy Heavenly Father, as we gather here today, Lord, we ask for your guidance. We ask for your wisdom. For anything that we discuss tonight, let it be your glory, Lord, and let it be for the good of the city. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Alrighty, welcome everybody. Let's do a roll call.
Aaron Rowe.
Here.
John Manus.
Here.
Robert Barker.
Here.
Savannah Robinson.
Here.
Ken Colley.
Here.
Bill Young.
Here.
Ron Sharon.
Here.
We've got a quorum. All right, anybody from the public like to talk about anything on the agenda? No, let's go to, does anybody like to make has everybody read the minutes? I'm gonna get a hold of myself. Read the minutes from the previous meeting.
Okay,
Everybody, you.
Everything, but I did.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say the same. Motion carries. All right, now let's get into the unfinished business. We're going to talk about the splash pad today. Megan, would you like to give us an update about the splash pad and where we're at?
Yeah, so we met with the owner of Han on Monday, and there are definitely some imperfections. They say it's gonna be up and running by this Friday, but there's some cosmetic issues, which I sent you all pictures of. There was already a water leak this morning. I'm a little uneasy about the quality of work, and I think I kinda just need your opinion on what you want me to do as far as what you want me to. We haven't finished the job. They're sending me a final invoice. My personal opinion, it needs to be come and fixed this fall. They want to get it open now, and I do as well. But then the cosmetic things, come fix it in the fall. They want me to say that the job is complete so they can have their final check. And then warranty will fix it in the fall. I don't believe that's warranty work. I think it was not completed. It's messed up in the first place. So I think that's our biggest disagreement on payment, and I kind of just need to know what you all think.
Is it something that we could go ahead and have them open up, do the 4th of July thing, and then maybe them come back in a couple of weeks and clean it up?
They wanna come back in the fall, though.
Yeah, that's what they
They
said.
don't
They
wanna come back out at all until the fall.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were gonna let us just have
That's
it.
the thing, they wanna get it open, but, to
They
do
want
all
to-
the stuff, it'll be later on.
They want their full
So
paycheck
after we
now.
shut it down, they can come whenever they want to.
Yeah,
If
they
come
said they
back.
wanted us to just have it this summer and have fun with it, and they'd come fix it, but pay them as if the job's complete. Well, warranty starts on the date of completion. I don't agree it's completed yet. So,
You give them their money, you'll never see them again.
I think that the deal will hold 5,000 charity. I had her figure out the percentage of retention, which we always had on the previous projects that I worked on. If we do that, we'll have enough to cover that. The last thing, and John and I have talked about this before from the concrete standpoint, is I don't wanna do any sawing into the concrete at all. You can take it and you can do rubbing rock, and you can smooth whatever the burrs are. The other thing is, though, in terms of the leak that happened, that if you have to go back, you can put the thrust box in, and it is, 4 foot down to the.
Roughly to the actual 8-inch main.
And what you would do is you would open it up while there's no pressure on it at the valve, and then concrete it. And then you open them up after the concrete cures, and you're working, because we've had, and Matt and I had experience with a couple of these weird diagonal fittings in some places, and we had one up on Moody Road at one time. We ended up having to stake that and then concrete it. And it's the same thing here, the same principle applies.
but they fixed it the same way it was broken in the first place. They've already come out and repaired it, and they glued it again. Matt doesn't believe that
I think it needs to be, if it was me, I would have put in, Hymax fittings, I mean, not Hymax, but, Meglugs and bolt everything instead of glue. The glue just
John, you're the concrete guy here. You've looked at the pictures.
Oh, we were out there Monday.
Do what?
We were out there Monday checking it out and everything. I mean, you know, that they're just gonna have to just really, you know, we're kind of stuck with what we got.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, it isn't what we wanted, but it's what we got. And, you know, like Steve said, you know, if you go to doing any cutting and stuff, then, you know, when it freezes and, you know, when the winter time comes around, then that's gonna chip out and everything. So, you know, probably the best thing we can do is just stick with what we got and buff out and make the best out of it and hold their money till they get everything done, you know, and then give them their money. But
I think it ought to be to as a complete a stage as it can be before we pay them the final payment. I think it needs to be done.
Yeah. If we
Not in
hold
the
that money
fall,
back,
But I think now it needs to be done before they get paid.
okay, hold that
right,
back
have
as
the
a
money.
retainage, as if
Right,
job
right.
is
To
not
make sure that they
complete.
come back and
Okay.
Well, you're holding 5,000, we're not holding the whole amount.
No, that's right, it's 5 held.
But if we
You
hold
may wanna walk
5,000, what's our
away with
guarantee?
$5,000.
Yeah, they might not even show back up for
Bill,
5,000.
if we hold 5,000, what's our guarantee that they'll even show back up? That
well, that
$5,000
5,000.
is not enough to hold. I mean, you gotta make it
that-
sting a little bit.
But that 5,000 would go towards, you know, what we needed to do.
If we had to hire somebody else,
Yeah.
he's saying. If we
Right.
had, but if we hired somebody else
But-
to fix it, does that void our warranty?
it could.
That's what I don't, I
It
mean,
will.
If we open the place and we have deemed the job not complete, I feel like that's gonna not jive.
Okay, there's a difference in
Does that make
beneficial
sense?
occupancy and
Like-
closure. Beneficial occupancy, you've got the retainage money that you held, but you can use it. And it's documented at the date you start, but that doesn't start the warranty, that just starts your usage.
Right.
There's a difference in you, and from the contracting standpoint, that's what you need to do.
Warranty wouldn't start.
We're calling it retainage and
Yeah.
not a holdback. That's why they want us to call it a holdback. We need to call it retainage. We are retaining this because the job is not complete.
Where's Matt?
He's right there. Oh.
No.
Oh,
Attorney.
I'm looking at you.
He's not gonna be
Over
here.
here. Okay. This might be something we need to throw at him and just see what his thoughts are, unless somebody's already talked to him about it.
Well, I did talk to him earlier about it, but he's supposed to be here,
Steve, you
Don't-
got a message from him, he's not gonna be able to be.
no, tomorrow.
Oh,
Tomorrow.
We've got we got another meeting we gotta work with.
I am,
Are those folks still here?
yes, that Lance was out there working today, fixing the leak and supposed to be fixing some final
Okay.
things. We're supposed to do a walkthrough tomorrow at 11, to see if it's good to open. I mean, I'm fine with us just having them write up what we spoke about. We'll discuss it at the next meeting. Obviously, they're in a hurry for their final check, but, I mean, they told me they were gonna start the job in January and they didn't show up till mid-May. I'm not in a huge hurry at this point. I understand if we need to put it off till the next meeting and discuss it. So,
You think
That's
we
up to
need
y'all.
to increase
Sounds
the
good. Let 'em write it a
retainage
little
of
bit.
5,000 up to 7 to 10 possibly?
92,000 is.
My mind says 10.
I hold 25%.
Afraid we're gonna get into the
25.
same thing we
Okay,
did
yeah, y'all
with
need
the,
to agree
police
on that
car
one.
Yeah, but
equipment.
see, you know, you
Yeah.
gotta have a
I
contract on it.
I
and
agree
stuff
with
like
Bill.
that.
Maybe
Supposed to
we
be
should have,
warranted
we
too.
should hold off to next meeting.
We gotta make it worth it for them to come back if something does go bad. 10 grand might do that, a lot more than 5 grand would.
Yeah, I'd hold 25% of it.
Thoughts? 25 grand?
25%, I think you said.
25%, okay.
25% would be way out of sight.
Yeah,
You
around
do a
15,
state
16,000.
job and see how much they hold for a year.
Well, this is on the state contract, so this contract's written like, but it would be 5%. 5 or 2% is what state contracts say.
Right.
So 2% would be 6,800, 5% would be double that, so about 15,000.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's what
That's
we,
what normal retainage would be.
Right.
15 grand?
Oh, when we did them cabins at Mount Magazine, they held $1 million.
She said it'd be 5%.
Of the total amount of the
Total.
job.
Of the 92.
12 months.
2%.
2%. 2%.
65?
Yeah.
But if we went up to 5, it would be almost like,
Almost
15.
12,
Yeah.
13,
It's like
14,000.
Yeah, I'd say about 12.
Well, then let's do that.
Your pleasure. It's your,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
whatever.
then, whatever y'all want.
I mean,
Well, it's actually the citizens' money and the state money, you know. I mean, folks here in town, you know, they're ready to, they've been put off, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
They're ready
I'm
to
on
go.
board with getting it open. I just wanna make sure that, like, we all agree it's not completed. It's not, and they need to come back and finish it.
Or have you been the one that's been conversing with these people?
Yes, I pulled Steve and Greg in on it after they wouldn't listen to me at the end, so.
Get them to go along. It's open but not complete. And, you know, it's about all we can do right now.
And maybe we should ask them how long it's gonna take for them to fix the imperfections that we see, not counting the pipe issue, because actually right now, that's not an issue until it blows. But the cosmetic issues, I think that should be done
That's what he was working on.
tomorrow. I mean,
But
Yeah, but
if
it,
they do that, they'll have to remove the equipment,
Yeah,
sand it down.
yeah, take all that stuff back off there
Yeah.
and.
So that,
you don't know where they puttied around the seals, or?
do you think
Animals and all
that 90 will
everything's out
hold? That he's fixing right now?
We'll find out after the first day.
Well, I'm like you. We did one out here at the, wherever it was 6-inch. And we didn't encase it in concrete. We let it set overnight, turned on the next morning, boom. And we had to encase it in concrete. And they hadn't had a problem in 30 years.
Yeah, we did the concrete one up on Moody Road years ago when we did it, what, 2002, and when that line's abandoned.
Why can't he encase it in concrete before he covers it back up?
It's already covered.
It's already covered up.
Already is?
Are they willing to have someone, like a representative from their place here on opening day?
Yes, I think Jack from Little Rock, but the owner, I don't know, she
Right.
flew in on Tuesday to come down. I can ask again if she wants to come.
Well, that might be
Did she
good.
go out there and look at it?
She did.
Yeah.
Well, I've been telling them for months that this isn't right, it doesn't look right. I've sent them pictures until I threw a fit and said, you contact your lawyer, we'll contact ours. This isn't, we don't agree. So she flew down and saw it did not look correct and agreed with us once she got down here, but now she's trying to fix it. It's almost
In the fall.
finished. Yep, yep. I mean, now we've already postponed it twice, and now she believes me, but it's taken a long time to even get her to come look at it.
Sad.
Yeah, we're a third of the way through the
And we didn't
summer
pay for a
season.
rinky-dinky splash pad. I mean, this is a lot of money.
Money out there.
I just wanna make sure we're covered and we do the right thing.
Thanks for staying on them.
I think we'll
Yes.
contact Matt, our attorney, and ask him to give us an input, and then you make a text message to the board
Mhm.
and let us decide, A, do we wanna accept it as it is, which it isn't right, and I hate to give anybody saying, yeah, it's completed. As soon as you sign that off, that relieves a lot of pressure on their behalf.
It does, and the warranty starts at that point and everything, and I
I just got a bad feeling about the whole thing. If once we say it's complete, it's not complete, we all know that.
We just lied to everybody.
We just need to occupy it and,
The only way you know is gonna do beneficial occupancy of it.
right,
You-
and
that's
see
the only
what
way.
goes out of it, you
You
know?
can speculate that the moon's up, but
Right.
that doesn't move it.
Tell them we'll pay him after we open it up and see.
I say we retain 10 grand, let them come back in the fall or sooner if something else happens, and deal with it like that, and let's see what.
Y'all's pleasure.
well, would you like to make a motion to do that?
5%, or, because 5%'s like 12 grand.
Yeah.
5%. I make a motion that we, have a retainage of, 5%, on this job, to cover any warranty issues that come about for the first year. And that will guarantee that they come in and they clean up the cosmetic issues that we have at this point.
I
All right, got a motion, do I have a second?
think we ought to make them before they leave, dig it up and case it in. Cause if not, it will blow again. There's about a 80-20 chance it will.
I asked him about it. I said, are you not concerned? It just got turned on and it already busted. And he said, this only happens about once every 10 years. I said, so you're saying this is it? Like this is the only time it's gonna happen? And he said, yeah. And I said, you want me to tell the board you're not concerned? Leaks happen. And he said, yeah, I'm not concerned. That's why I sent you all the message and
So
said
we're
that
gonna
was
turn
his
it back
words.
on in the morning, right?
Supposedly it's
We're
on.
gonna turn it back
now.
on in the morning, right?
Yes, we should be doing a final testing
pressure's
tomorrow
on.
at 11, I think.
10.
She just emailed me like an hour ago and said it'll be 11 tomorrow to open it and see if it runs.
Need to go.
I second Bill's motion.
All right, I got a second, so let's do a roll call vote.
Aaron Rowe,
Yes.
John Manus,
Yes.
Robert Barker,
Yes.
Savannah Robinson,
Yes.
Ken Collie,
Yes.
Bill Young,
Yes.
Ron Cherim.
Yes.
All right,
5% to 1 year cosmetic issues as soon as possible.
all right. Any more discussion on the splash pad? Nope. All
If we
right.
can't get it open, let's just take Tommy down there and let him put the fire truck over it.
There you go.
That's already been discussed.
There you go, man. We got
Water over onto.
we've
Yeah,
got an
just lop
alternative
water
plan,
onto it
one way or
with
another.
the fire truck, yeah.
Hose every
Frank
kid down.
Nemo's still out there.
You gonna water the grass
And
for
every
us?
adult too.
You gonna water the grass for us?
Do it all at once.
All righty, new business. Consideration of 2023 second quarter budget and adjustments in Resolution 23-08, providing for the approval of the second quarter budget adjustments.
Okay,
You're up, Charity.
I'm here. There's the budget adjustments for this year. You will see, a transfer of 111,000 from general fund to water. That was the rest of ARPA funds. That's an increase. And other than that, no increases in general fund. And then, on the next page, there is some increases in water O&M. 100,000 of that is to purchase the meters in a larger quantity. And, then there's 8,000 in utilities gas, cause I
How much
did
better
that.
deal did we get, order them in quantity?
About $10 per meter.
How many meters?
We ordered 200.
Is that all, that's just the standard size ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were also going to go up too. It's not going, anyways, they went up in price as well, so
They did.
it's kind of crazy. And then, addition to street fund, because that's me, I didn't put in for insurance for vehicles and property for the street department, and they had to pay insurance too. But other than that, it's all a zero. State forfeiture, where we put our drug task force money, you'll see an increase in revenue there. And also equipment expense, because they're getting money there so that they can buy police equipment. I think one of the things they're going to be buying out of there is a bulletproof vest. And I don't know that he has plans for the rest. We just wanted to go ahead and put some money in the budget in case he needs something. I do want to say that we got a check from them today for over $9,000 from the prosecuting attorney's office. This is the first time I've seen a check like that. So our police department, whoever's doing our drug task, an amazing job. So excited about that, excited to see that, because the more money we're getting, the more arrests they're making. And that's what's happening, which is keeping our streets clean. So just a plug for the police department.
Good job.
So, and I look forward to getting more. We were actually the second highest, we were even higher than the county and Greenwood. So we were not higher than Fort Smith, but next time.
Warning.
Where's it all coming from?
All right, so here we go with the resolution. Resolution number 23-08, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2023 budget and making adjustments thereto. Whereas the city of Barling has heretofore set a budget for the fiscal year 2023, and whereas the Board of Directors of the city of Barling, Arkansas finds and determines the need to make adjustments of funds with said budget, and whereas it is in the best interest of the citizens of Barling that these adjustments be made. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the City of Barling, Arkansas as follows. Section 1, Budget Adjustments. The attached adjustments for the fiscal year of 2023 of the City of Barling budget be made, and the same are hereby approved pursuant to the attached. Section 2, Effective Date. This resolution shall become effective immediately upon its passed and adopted by the City of Barling Board of Directors this 27th day of June 2023. Greg Murray, Mayor, attested by Florine Brown, City Clerk.
We can just make a motion and second on this.
Yes.
I make a motion that we do resolution number 23-08.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Aaron Rowe,
Yes.
John Manus.
Yes.
Robert Parker.
Yes.
Savannah Robinson.
Yes.
King Collie.
Yes.
Bill Young.
Yes.
Ron Sharon.
Yes.
It is approved. All right. Department head reports. Joe, would you like to start off?
Sure. During the month of May, we had obvious increase in both grass violations and then also animal violations. They stay extremely high. Other than what the monthly was, the two things that we've kind of been working on was the trailer that has burned. Made contact with that guy again today, and he's telling me that next week he'll have dumpsters there, so hopefully that will be cleaned up here really soon. Also, the ditch project, hopefully by the next meeting I'll have some quotes so that we can have some pricing on that and give you a little bit more info on that. That's all I have.
Matt?
I don't have-
Besides the splash
Question,
pad.
On the restaurant across the street, it was sold and then closed down, or we need to make contact to those people, clean up their yard. It's right on our main street.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've not reached out this time, but I have had contact with him, and I'm gonna make sure that he does understand that he needs to get that in a, basically, he only does it when I call him. He's gotta understand that he's gotta get it,
Okay.
either hire a company or do something. Not just me calling him and telling him he has to do it, and that's something we're gonna have a conversation with, probably tomorrow.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All righty, Matt.
I don't have much. Most of the guys have been out at the park all month trying to get it ready for the splash pad and presentable and mowing and grooming it. And
It looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
Out there the other night.
All righty. How about Tommy?
In the month of May, we made 4 fires, 66 medical and 16 public service for a total of 86 runs. Average response time of 2 minutes, 25 seconds. We issued 6 burn permits. They completed fire hydrant testing, so that's done. The new pumper is now under construction. The final completion date was pushed from July 31st to August 29th. That'll be the final delay. And they've actually called to schedule a final inspection. So I'll have that scheduled probably by the end of the week. Multiple calls at once. We had 2 times in May where we made 2 calls at the same time for a total of 4 runs. We had 1 time where we made 3 calls at once for a total of 3 runs. And then something I discussed with Steve, and I was putting numbers together and figured I would go ahead. It's a lot of work, so I figured I would go ahead and bring it to the board also. Our out-of-city responses have picked up. So between January 1 and today, we've made 19 calls outside the city. The bulk of them are Central City. In comparison to last year, by this same time, we had made 12. So what that amounts to is, every response we make, typically they're medical. Every medical call we make, typically you have a response time. And if it's in the city, you have a response time, and we average 225. You've got 20 to 30 minutes on scene, and then, your time back to the station, but you're always in the city. When we respond outside the city, you have typically a 7 to 10 minute response time, 20 to 30 minutes on the scene, and then, the same 7 to 10 minutes back. And each time that leaves the city uncovered or covered, I try to come in most of the time, but you're still, the coverage is down. So, and it's just increasing, the same reason runs increase in the city, aging population and a lack of volunteers. Central City has no volunteers, as I understand it. And Lavaca has had a decrease, though they still make the majority of their runs. We made a few to Lavaca. We've made one to Big Creek, one to Bloomer. And I wanted the board to be aware of that, because when we make these, we're out of service.
It's 15 minutes or 20 minutes to Bloomer from here.
Yeah.
So what
That
happened?
only happened once, and that's, so we received Act 833 money. We receive that every year, and that's our only guidance. There's no other legislation other than that. And Act 833 says that we have to go 5 miles. To receive Act 833, we have to provide automatic aid up to 5 miles from our border. So once we made the call to Bloomer, I called the county's fire coordinator, and I said, hang on a minute, that's more than 5 miles. So I've requested that they make sure dispatch knows to limit us. You know, we have to go 5 miles, but we have to stop somewhere. I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
last year we were dispatched to White Bluff. And I had to get on the radio, and our guys got responding because they've been told, when you're dispatched, you respond. And then I get on there and correct it. But dispatch doesn't know any better. You know, they get a call and they page out, say they page out Central and they don't respond, and they may page out Lavaca and they don't pick it up. They page us out by default, because a lot of times they know we're staffed. So we become the catch-all for the county. So I have made contact with the county fire coordinator and told them we just can't go all over the county. We can't do it. You know, I have to limit us to 5 miles by Act 833. So I'm doing that. But I can't, we have to go 5 miles.
How long does it take an ambulance to come from Greenwood all the way out here? So do y'all stand by until the ambulance gets there?
You know,
So
we can't, once we initiate any kind of care, we can't abandon it until,
So that would, if we could, get some way that they could respond out of, the ambulance place we have here.
well,
Would
the
cut down.
county has a contract,
Yeah, that's,
so they're not gonna,
they're not gonna
Fort Smith EMS is not gonna be able to.
go out there.
We can't call them and ask them to respond with us, because they don't have that contract for the county.
So Sebastian County EMS, they're out of Greenwood, right? Okay, so let's just assume that you're going to Central and they dispatch an ambulance from Greenwood. You might be out there 45 minutes or an hour before you head
Could be.
back.
I mean, if their truck is on another call, there's no telling. But that goes back to abandonment. You know, once we get out there and we initiate any kind of care,
Yeah, you gotta stay with it.
we have
I
to
get
stay
that.
with it.
I get that.
Uh,
I'm just thinking of the vulnerability of us and our citizens here in
That's right.
town.
And
Well, you
Steve,
guys are out.
Steve had a suggestion, and I like this suggestion. I hope that we can get to where we can hire, we need 6 people. But Steve suggested that we look at the potential of 3 next year, and we could staff a second truck with 1 person. I'm good with that.
Just for backup.
Well, that 1 person, you know, in my opinion, we get a call outside the city, we need to send a truck with 1 person and leave 2 people to protect our city. Our taxpaying citizens come first.
When you go outside the city, do you get anybody backup help at all?
Sometimes it varies. Central City, usually not.
There's nobody home. There's nobody down there. That's, Tommy and I talked probably 30 minutes about this, and one of the things we looked at is also a second station for a single person truck to be there, be pre-positioned, because when they get going out here on Mahogany and all that truck traffic, I have seen, and we had discussed, Greg and I were in the discussion today with the road that they're gonna cut into, and there may be the only way we have into some places is you need to be on the other side of the interstate, or you need to be on the other side of the train tracks, because you could be in the place where you need to be here. What we're talking about in the budget, and it's general fund money, is if you add a third person, that person A, if you have to have two to go on the truck that responds on that 5 mile distance, at least one guy's here with the truck for something happening in town.
Yeah.
And it's or if you send one guy with a truck, provided the out-of-towner, the 5 mile guy, has somebody to respond down there. The odds of finding somebody at home in Lavaca or in the area are better than they are at Central simply because of population. But when you get down to Bloomer, you're probably right outside the 5 mile, or you're right close to the limit.
That would still be in Lavaca's purview, correct?
When they're available, Lavaca does a very good job. I would never knock on them because they're very helpful to us, and I don't mind helping them, even if it's beyond 5 miles, because they come and help us whenever we have a fire. No questions asked. You know, my problem is we are literally making all of Central City's calls, all of them, and we get nothing in return.
The reason we don't get anything in return, of course, they're not paying taxes to our fire trucks and staff. But is there something else that we could ask them for or something? I mean.
Well, we tried, at one point, we tried billing them, and we used the FEMA rate
Yeah,
per call,
yeah.
and they wouldn't pay it. They said they couldn't pay it.
It didn't have the funds.
Right. And so, you know, I can't very well ask again, considering they don't have it. And I get that. I'm not, again, I'm not knocking them, you know. But we have no way of recouping any of this, and it's wear and tear on trucks, personnel, the cost of our personnel while they're out of the city, fuel.
Now, this act you say that we accept, is that funding?
Yes, Act 833 is state funds that we receive by legislation every year.
Okay.
It's based
So
on.
we're kind of bound to do it whether we like it or not, if we accept the
Well,
money.
if we accept that money, we have no choice but to go up to 5 miles.
How much is it?
It's based
I
on,
think last year we were up to 15, yeah.
based on your insurance that we pay. There's an insurance premium that's paid, and that insurance premium funds 833. And that's how, but there's, like Tommy says, there's these restrictions that you can only spend it on this item, this item, this item, but not that item.
$15,000 wouldn't even pay for another person to cover that in the case of something happening.
Well, sir, and it's based on, it's dished out based on population. So, you know, you could ask Central City, hey, send us some of your Act 833, but they're receiving probably less than half of what we get.
Act 33 is just for fire department, or is that fire police?
It's fire only.
Act 833 is fire only.
Well, they don't have a fire department. Why would they be getting that?
Well, they still get it.
Unless disbanding a volunteer fire department is almost impossible. The only ones that I know, that was the Jenny Lynn fiasco down there, and I talked to the new county judge about this several times, and I've talked about having a countywide fire program where everybody knows what the pool is and dispatches, and it's no different than asking for using, and this is always taboo, but instead of having a police chief in every town, they're all like undersheriffs like they are out in Arizona or someplace, and it's a county-wide pool it's like an umbrella coverage. And when you think about that that makes too much sense, because the quorum court has never bought off on that before.
Well, here's what confuses me. If this act money is supposed to be spent on fire protection.
Well, it's fire
equipment, and they don't have a fire department, what are they spending the money on?
They do have a fire department, they ain't got nobody down there.
They've got a chief and maybe
Okay.
one of the board members.
What?
They've got a chief and like maybe one of the board members that's on the department.
Okay.
That's all I know of.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously I can't speak for them, but,
Let's
I
do
know
some,
whatever they have, they're not making calls.
let's do some study on that. Steve, somebody,
But you
check in that, just see.
what they can furnish or pay.
Yeah, Yeah, if we're gonna help them, we need to,
And what Steve was discussing earlier on that, us talking about a future second station down towards that new warehouse. So when we were last rated by ISO, our rater had told me that, and it's never been an issue, but he said that the only place Barling would ever necessitate another station would be on the other side of 549 or 49, when development started towards Central.
yeah,
Well,
it's there.
It started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there. Okay. Appreciate the heads up.
All righty, Brian?
We're starting to, or another DOT STEP grant starts tomorrow. It's for DWIs, it'll run tomorrow through July the 4th, so you'll see an uptick in patrol and inevitably some more complaints. But anyway, it starts tomorrow.
You're fully staffed now?
Yes. Everybody's going good.
I'm sorry, Bill.
You go, boy.
He's fully staffed.
Appreciate what y'all do.
All righty. Mr. Core, you ready for yours?
Be difficult to top those two reports.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing is they've started in on the detailed planning and for the track up at Mercy Crest, and I've got the drawings in there. The second thing is they have got the drawings together for the extension of 4th Avenue. That's mahogany to you guys, to take it on to the south boundary, because somebody has made an offer on the 20 acres south of the warehouse. Okay, and this is one of the weird things that happens because in the original original boundaries, and I wasn't here when they set the boundaries up in whatever, half of 4th Avenue south belongs to Fort Smith. That's the southbound lane. The northbound lane in 4th Avenue, Mahogany, is in Barling. So we figured out, Dan and Greg and I talked about that, and Dan's got trust money. It's designed, and we're ready to get with it. And we want to do the paving all at the same time.
Yeah.
The other thing you don't pick up on is the east-west road down there, Tuscany. Half of it belongs to Barling, and the other half belongs to the trust. And they're trying to figure out how they're going to access some of the other stuff down there and what money pot it's coming out of. The other thing is, I will tell you that they came in and told me first about the road that was going to cross 22 highway at the traffic light they're going to put in. It's going to be video controlled. And they were going to go across the highway and kill off the Grenade Range Road and wander out through the woods and build a new road. And we come to find out that's not what needs to be done because of several environmental things that happened many years ago. And so Dan is going back to talk to the highway department about their plan, because they told him one thing and then we've got the drawings that show something else they told us in the past. And this concerns the access to the lagoons, which we gotta have, Tommy's Fire, which we gotta have, and if there's 161 acres in one place down there that's gonna be landlocked if they don't do what they said they were gonna do the first time. So that's gonna go back down, and Dan was gonna call Ms. Tudor down at the the highway department and explain to them what kind of snooker game they've made. There is a meeting that will be Friday downtown at Fort Smith, and it's the affected parties that are in the trust beneficiaries will be meeting, and it includes Carl Gefkin from Fort Smith, and it includes the mayor of Greenwood, our mayor here, myself, Mayor McGill, and the primary beneficiaries, the county judge. And the county, and Ken was on that original trust, the county is the settlor and the indenture of trust, and then we were told that the trustees had to dissolve the trust, and I've been reading this, and I don't agree with that. Obviously, I think that one stroke from the county judge as the settlor and the governor, and they can dissolve the trust instantly. It's kind of like being on the disappearing act for a magician. What we talked about, Greg and I talked to him about it, is the fact that it says in the trust is supposed to get the highest and best use of the properties out there. Supposedly they have 1,400 acres to develop, and I want to tell you that I went back over the land that's developable and I looked at the maps, and there's about 490 acres that are developable, okay, out of that 1,400. And I'm talking about, I've culled out pipelines and trails, and I culled out swamps and things that are inaccessible, and I think there's about 490 acres. And not all of it is what I would call prime land, and then they also have come to the realization that we are dead serious about, we're not building any more sewage pump stations, we're not building lift stations. That's what got a maintenance nightmare for years, and it's not gonna happen anymore. The other thing, I will, and I have to brief you on it, we don't have the final report, but you have to be briefed on the audit results, okay? We had no answerable findings, which means Charity, myself, and anybody else do not get to go down and see the Legislative Joint Audit Committee in person. If you've never watched one of those committee hearings, and there are many of them, they will make you stop and think. Brian came to this one, and he has to sign, and the most important thing not only is the money, but it's the custody and assets and forfeitures, and they go through an inventory with your equipment like you've never seen before. And when they get through with you, if you pass it, you can say thank you, and thank you, because it is 2 months of being turned inside out and backwards. Tommy will tell you they spend time over there checking every fire truck, hose, piece of equipment. All the weapons are checked, all the police gear. There's nothing that's not inventoried now. Matt has them over there. They go through. I've yet to meet anybody that can trade out an axle on the tractor, but they go through and crawl under the tractors and everything else. But this is the kind of thing you get, and it goes with it. And when you get a clean bill of health, you're sitting there thinking, thank God I did it right the first time. It's not, there's nothing like being arrested by the state police to go in and make your appearance.
All right. I think that is it. Anybody got any announcements or anything?
Splash pad, opening Friday. Everyone.
Splash Pad Friday.
11 a.m.
I'll be there.
Good, to cook.
Hot dogs.
I hope.
Bring your floaties.
850
Oh, yeah, I'll cook.
shares so far on Facebook. I'm a little concerned about that. So, 850 shares and like 100 and something comments on it. And then this Monday, we have our Independence Day celebration, and that'll be thousands of people.
It's
So,
gonna be ridiculous.
yeah, so if you
May
really
have
want
to,
come rally at the park.
Make them take turns, let this group go in, then let that group go in.
Now, I do have a question, and this is for everybody. Are we gonna have enough police staff to get the cars situated where they need to go, where they're supposed to park, where they're not supposed to park? Is all that being planned out, and is it gonna go smooth?
Sure.
Splash
I
pad
have a
opening the
question.
4th of July celebration.
4th of July,
Yeah.
on the
We-
3rd.
Okay. We don't have to park in the dusty field, do we?
What?
Grenade range?
Can we park up in the,
Yes, we can park up in the park, but we will be using the grenade range as well. So grenade range will be trucks and SUVs.
He's wanting VIP parking.
You can.
That's what he's wanting right there.
He's wanting that press
I don't
pass.
wanna walk
what
in
he
that
wants.
dusty, man, my
See,
sign
what'd I
seat
tell
me
you?
up for a week last time I did that.
The back of the park will be the cars and motorcycles. And then this year I have 2 of the senior center vans, the brand new vans that we're gonna be using those to shuttle back and forth in that dusty field. so maybe you won't get so nasty.
Oh, that's
Back and
nice.
forth, and then we'll have golf carts shuttling
Do you-
from the back of our park.
Do you still need some volunteers for the golf carts?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody got any suggestions for anybody that wants to drive a golf cart that day, get with Megan?
How much does it pay?
We have a contract labor budget talking.
I'll drive a golf cart. Yeah.
Aren't you cooking?
You're
Oh,
cooking-
wait a minute,
he's
I'm cooking.
for the
Oh, that's a
splash
different
pad.
event.
Golf carts on, look at you working both.
Okay,
ways.
is this Friday at 11?
Yes, you're cooking.
I have to make sure I got somebody to cover the store, but yeah, I can do that.
All right. Splash Pad 11, Friday, July the 3rd, start at 5:30 on Monday. All righty.
I'll write this down.
Any other announcements?
If anybody wants to
Better
see
call
any,
me.
I have photo updates from the past 3 or 4 weeks on the truck being built.
Oh, okay.
And when it's over, I'm gonna put a whole binder together for the entire process.
All right, if any,
Hot dogs.
if nobody has anything else, Mr. Ron, would you do the honor?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
To adjourn, all in favor say aye. We are adjourned, folks. See you Friday at the Splash Pad, 11 a.m. And then
George's
Monday,
space down there, and he's gonna
5:30
have
for the fireworks.
buildings for
Have a
sale.
great day.
And I know who the guy is, he's up, and